Welcome back to Trading Rolly. Looking at an ascending triangle on the Bitcoin chart. We'll dive in, do some technical analysis as usual, take a look at some headlines. We'll do an altcoin of the day at the end. Sorry, the last video did end abruptly. I was going to do my altcoin and I had some, we'll just call it technical difficulties. All right. That's why I just cut off at hold the line. All right, guys, hit that like for me, leave a comment, and I do want to thank everyone who has been leaving comments. It gives me some extra motivation. This is a hobby of mine, obviously, with the low following and low viewership, but it could always grow into something more. That's why I continue to do these. So thank you for those comments. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Tick the bell for notifications. Rolly roll. Remember, these are my own ideas and opinions on the market. So please do your own research and trade at your own risk. I am not your financial advisor. All right, you know the drill. Let's take a look at the market real quick. Bitcoin pushing up. You know, we're hovering right around 19,500. That's going to be a critical resistance. We'll look at that on the chart, but I'm seeing a lot of green. Good to see. We had that bounce over the weekend. Not much has happened. We've been kind of consolidating sideways since, Sunday evening, Monday. But, consolidation right beneath resistance. We could blast off, and I'm sure it'll take all the altcoins with it. Bitcoin Cash up 9%. Polkadot up 6%. XRP down 3% a little bit. We've already had that airdrop, so I'm not totally sure. Maybe this is still some fallout from the airdrop. People sold their XRP once they had the snapshot, but that was already a couple days ago, so who knows? These things go up, these things go down. Overall, I wouldn't be too concerned. I'm sure it'll be just fine in the near future. Fear and Greed Index. We've ticked down to a 91, which is interesting because maybe now that we're back at that resistance level, people are getting scared again. We're still hovering. You can see just staying up here. If I look at the yearly, we've just been chopping around. What happens if we go, to above 20K? We're going to need to extend this fear and greed to, 110 maybe. All right, let's keep it going. I'm going to run through some headlines. BTC and XTZ enter top 10 in China's crypto rankings. These crypto rankings, I don't know if they mean anything. This is China's rankings. EOS has been at the top. It's kind of blurry here. EOS has been at the top for a while. And this is based off of a few different things: basic tech, applicability, however you want to say that word, and creativity. So there's 3 different metrics that they measure, and EOS is their top pick. Ethereum would be next. Then you have IOST, Tron. Don't talk about Tron much, or at least I don't. But the Chinese are bullish on Tron. XLM, GXS. I'm not even totally sure what that is. Forgive me if that's something that everyone else knows. Forgive my ignorance. BTC moved to 7, and then you have Tezos. Just something to point out. This may interest you. I mean, China is a very large market, but at the same time, they flirt with these banning. Are they banning it? Are they not banning it? But they're the only country with an actual index and rankings. Anyways, moving on. 20 billion asset manager announces Bitcoin allocation after dumping gold. Another billionaire dumping gold for Bitcoin. And that's all I need from this article. Guys, I stick to the charts most often. And when I look at headlines like these, I don't really need to read any further. Do I need to know everything about this guy? Not necessarily. I just see more bullish news, and that's about all I need. Because, these narratives in the headlines, people trying to explain price moving up or down because of a headline. I don't subscribe to that thought process, but it is good to check out what's going on. I mean, the PayPal news, the PayPal and the Square news, that had me very interested, but the price was way lower, okay? We were still around like 11,000, 12,000, so there was plenty of room to run. We're going to need something more significant than this to push above 20K. Let's see. Some FUD. Mount Gox. I've been seeing this going around. Mount Gox. Basically, they were one of the largest exchanges earlier in Bitcoin's career, and they were hacked. The estimated 850,000 Bitcoin were stolen. And I think they're about to disperse at some point. They're going to pay back their 20,000 victims. They are holding 165,000 Bitcoin, which is worth about 3.2 billion at today's prices. This could add some downward pressure potentially. We know that in 2019, the Plus token scam drove price up, and then when Plus tokens started unloading their bags, we had a sell-off. And I think, considering if you had your money hacked in 2014 and they finally paid you out in Bitcoin around 19,000, I would take some profit. So there's probably going to be some sell pressure from this. But guys, at the same time, we have Grayscale, PayPal, Square, MicroStrategy, and the list goes on and on. They're accumulating under 20K. They're accumulating. They're buying the dips. So yeah, there'll be some sell pressure, but I don't think we're going to have, we're not going to go back to 6,000 in my opinion. All right. Bitwise. Oh, I wanted to follow up on this. I did the video last week. Market price $80. NAV, net asset value, 1741. This is well over 400% premium to buy the crypto index through traditional markets. This is a stock you could own. It could have been a great trade. When we looked at it last week, it was only 100% premium. It was around $30. I was considering it, and then I overslept. I am on the West Coast, so the Wall Street opens 6:30 a.m. my time, and by the time I woke up that day, the price had already moved, and I was like, whatever, and then it just keeps moving. Could have been a good trade, but guys, if you own these cryptos, this is the top 10. These are the holdings weighted by microcap. I own a majority of these already, so I don't really need to pay a 400% premium unless you were looking for that trade, right? All right. This is interesting. I think this is a graph. Let me see. So yeah, wow. Guys, so this is the NAV because, the price of these coins hasn't really moved, but look at the market price in the green. Market price and the blue is the NAV. So you tell me what you want to do. All right. Finally. Let's see. McConnell is holding a news conference. This is at the top right now. Who knows? Hopefully it's good stimulus news. We saw that they're meeting today for more COVID relief talks. They have a deadline by the end of the week. The stocks are up on renewed stimulus hope. I just want to point out one thing. Maybe they could come to a different agreement that they finally settle on. But for now, the one that's in the headlines last night, this morning, there is no $1,200 check in the new bipartisan agreement. There's not even a $600 check. It's under $1 trillion. So it's more, small businesses. I think they were going to add some unemployment benefits. It's stuff that the country really desperately needs. But without those stimulus checks, it might not be as large of an impact on the markets. I'm just hypotheses, hypothetical. I don't know what I'm trying to think of, but you know what I'm saying. So before we had like a $3 trillion stimulus, we had $1,200 checks. You saw that people were actually purchasing the exact amount of Bitcoin, $1,200 worth. But without those checks, it could boost the market. You know, one thing I can say is more stimulus is going to push the narrative of Bitcoin and commodities, because it's going to increase the likelihood of inflation down the road. So you know that inflation hedge trade could be good for Bitcoin, risk on equities and all that. So overall, it is going to be good for the markets, but it's not that big $3 trillion or $1,200 checks. All right. Wow. 10 minutes only on headlines. I don't know what to do, guys. I hope you guys have been enjoying the headlines, Bitcoin chart, and then an altcoin of the day. It makes the videos a little longer, but there's a lot to talk about. All right, moving on. I digress. Hit that like for me. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let's look at the chart. Bitcoin, ascending triangle. You did break above it here, but you know, one of the things people often talk about with confirmations is you would like a 4-hour open and close. So sometimes, you know, a 4-hour close above a critical resistance can be, you know, that signal, but it's kind of jumping the gun. So just one 4-hour candle close, often it does lead to a breakout. But if you want a full confirmation, you want a 4-hour candle close above and then another 4-hour open and close. That would give you more of a confirmation. You might miss part of the move depending on how strong that move is, but it'll give you, and in this case, it'll give you more confirmation. In this case, it would have kept you out of this trade. So you had the 4-hour close, but then the following candle dumped back down. You had a wick here and a wick here above this 19,500 level, but no close, okay? So we're looking for a close above. There's about 30 minutes left in this 4-hour candle. We're right beneath this horizontal resistance. We want to get a close above and another 4-hour candle open and close above. And I want to see the volume rising. We need volume to break this historic 20K level, all right? And you can see this 19,500. We wicked above, closed below, and then rejected. Bounced, though, and we've wicked above, so we'll have to see what happens with that 4-hour close. By the time you watch it, it'll probably have already happened. So you can ascending triangles also typically a bullish pattern, rising support with a horizontal resistance, typically a bullish signal, especially in an uptrend, okay? But 20K, will it be today? I hope so. You know, talk about FOMO. Once you see those headlines that Bitcoin's above 20K all-time high, you could see some FOMO kick in. Also, I think there's going to be a lot of shorts that get liquidated. You know, a lot of people are bearish at this level here, and I understand. You know, we did expect to hit some resistance here, for sure. Okay, people, you know, I even skimmed some profits right here. I'm sure a lot of people have taken profits here. So this was expected, but what's interesting is this we didn't get a harsh rejection. And the fact that we've consolidated here, anyone who took a short up here probably had their stop a little above 20K, okay? And same in this whole region here. Anyone shorting here, I'm sure their stops are just above right there. So if we can break the all-time high, we could see some short liquidations roll in, which could add rocket fuel to the rocket ship, right? Rocket fuel for the takeoff. And we've consolidated long enough that those shorts are building up. Okay, last I saw funding was negative, which means there's more shorts than longs. That's good. So yeah, I would like to see what happens. It could be today. It could be today. All right. That's the meat of what I'm looking at here. But let's just do a quick little breakdown to refresh our indicators. We'll go to the weekly and we'll move down to the 4-hour, and then we'll get on to that altcoin of the day. All right, so guys, this is repetitive, but for any new watchers, above the yellow 21 EMA weekly is bullish, and we are well above it. That level, if we happen to drop, support levels at 14,500 and rising each week. And then you have a pink 10 simple around 16,445. All right. So those would be your macro support levels. Our stochastic was hinting at a cross down, but it's not a decisive cross down. So, when we're bullish, it can stay up here for a while. You can see how this was a fake out cross each time. And it appears to be the same thing. So we don't have a decisive cross down on the weekly Stokes, which is still bullish. And, there's still lots of room to the upside. In previous bull runs, you can see the RSI goes a lot higher than the current price. So we have plenty of room to go to the upside if that's the direction we want to take it. I don't have to be jumping ship just because we're overbought. In fact, the pure nature of bullish price action is going to lead these indicators like the Stokes and the RSI to be up here anyways. Once you reach this point here, it's because you've been rallying, right? So if you're in a strong uptrend, it's not uncommon to continue this overbought, because it's not just overbought and oversold. It's a relative strength, okay? And this is showing that the strength in the move. And this level was your previous top here, okay? And I believe we're even stronger today than we were back then. So why not move all the way up to 92 like we did previously? All right, enough about that. Daily. All right, the daily moving averages, above all moving averages. Good to see. You had that bounce off the 21 EMA. Your immediate support is going to be at the pink 10 simple, 18,845. Yellow 21 EMA, 18,560. Okay, so if we happen to drop, those would be your immediates. If we have a large dump, you have the 17,000 support with your blue 50 simple, and anything more drastic than that, your 200 EMAs down here at 13,037. Daily Stoke crossing up tends to be a good signal. And then we're still waiting for, you know what? We may have just gotten it. We'll have to see. Yeah. So I was watching this downtrend on the RSI. We finally broke that. So we're getting a daily Stoke cross up, and we're breaking that downtrend on the RSI, and we're consolidating in a bullish ascending triangle pattern. It looks good to me. Could we get rejected again here, come back down, meet this rising trend line, really fill out this triangle? It's a possibility. But they tend to break around 70-75% of the way through. So we're at that point. Just need some convincing buy volume. All right. 16,150 was that horizontal we were looking at using weekly candles. So that could be a level of interest if we do fall further. 13,880 has been another level of interest you know, if we happen to get to this level, I'd be interested in buying some more. And what else did I want to say about all of this? I don't know. I just lost my train of thought. So sorry. All right. Well, then I will just keep moving along. But looks good, right? I mean, you also had a similar pattern here that didn't play out. You had this also right here. This also looked like a ascending triangle. You can see, you know, the flat resistance. And people are, you know, saying fractal, fractal. So, but, you know, it didn't get that breakout 70%. And often when they kind of go to the very pinnacle, you know, they go to the end, like fills out like 90% to 100% of the triangle pattern. Typically, the pattern just kind of loses its chutzpah, its validity, or its you know, strength. So, you know, it kind of just ended up continuing out sideways. So it, you know, went back when we were here, it looked like a pretty convincing ascending triangle, and then we had to wait an additional like over a month at least till we had that breakout. So, you know, just because it's a pattern doesn't mean to rush in, especially right at a critical resistance. If you're trading ranges, like if I'm talking about someone who's short-term scalping, trading on margin, you know, if you're trading a pattern or a range, you want to buy support, sell resistance. So if you were looking to, so a lot of people are selling here, but what you would like to see maybe is a breakout above, and when you get that breakout above, you want to see it come back down, bounce here, and then go. So ideally you could either get your 4-hour candle close, open and close above, or you could wait for the retest. So you have a resistance, often you have a breakout, then you have a retest as support. And if you get that bounce, then you could buy that right there on a lower time frame, you know, short-term trade. If you're long-term hodler, you know, just you could buy a little every week. It depends what your plan is, you know. Depends how you're allocating your cash. All right, let me get out of there, go down to the 4-hour, take a look at those indicators, and move on to our altcoin of the day. I don't know why I'm trying to hide what it is. I'm going to put it in the title anyways. It's going to be Litecoin, okay? It's going to be Litecoin. So we looked at that pattern. Let's look at the indicators. Your Stoke on the 4-hour looking to get a cross up. So we want to see, could we confirm that on this 4-hour candle close? Do we get a confirmed cross up? That could be the call. And your moving averages, let's take a look there. So you did find support on that yellow 21 EMA, which is good to see. Last video I did, we were like somewhere around here, and we had bounced off the pink 10 simple. And instead of going even further down, it actually chopped sideways, price chopped sideways, and allowed the yellow 21 EMA to catch up. And you got a nice bounce off that as well, and now above that pink 10 simple. So this could be, you know, the move could be happening. Your immediate support, 19,279, pink 10 SMA, yellow 21 EMA, 19,100. Ideally, we'd like to break above and then have this 10 simple and yellow 21 EMA provide support on the rally. I see the volume is slightly increasing. Price 19,500. This could be it. But you can see, you know, on a strong move, that pink 10 simple held support, and then the yellow 21 EMA, and then the blue 50 simple. So those, staying above those on the 4-hour was critical on that move up. So we're back above. We'll just have to see what happens at this historic resistance level. All right. Wow, already 24 minutes. I can just talk forever. let's just go over to Litecoin real quick. Okay, so I'm looking at a symmetrical triangle on Litecoin. This is, I would say, symmetrical triangles are more of a 50-50. Ascending triangles, typically bullish. Descending triangles, typically bearish. Symmetrical triangles, a 50-50, but usually moves in the direction of the overall trend, and the overall trend is up. The reason I'm interested in Litecoin kind of fell off the map for a little while. There was not too much interest. It was just in this terrible downtrend for a while. But with the PayPal news, it finally broke this downtrend, this green line downtrend. And then we finally broke above this yellow horizontal at 65. You can see price, react with it. 65 level resistance, a support, resistance, support, a support flip resistance. You saw some resistance here, resistance. Once we finally broke it, you bounced off of the support. So staying above 65 is important on the macro for Litecoin. But that PayPal news is what really sent it up. And basically, I have more faith in the majors, the top 10, top 20, especially the ones that have been in the top 10, top 20 over the course of the past 3 years. We've had some newcomers, but Litecoin has, stayed in that top 10 for a while. And it seems that the top 10 are getting the most attention from the institutional buyers that are moving into the space, that maybe they've already been exposed to Bitcoin and they want to look at some other cryptos. They are looking at these majors. And every time you have crypto being offered on a new exchange, or say, it's always Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin. Those are always the ones that are available. So with PayPal, those are the only ones available. You have all these new users that have access to it. But then even like Robinhood, it's been a while since I checked on what coins are available, but those were the first ones available on SoFi, where you can buy stocks, you can buy Bitcoin, you can buy Ethereum. Pretty sure you can get Litecoin. And then when you look at Grayscale, you can get Litecoin there as well, but they're only offering, the top coins. And then even with Bitwise, the top 10 index, going back to Bitwise, you can see Litecoin is there available again. So it's a good one to watch. And I feel a little more safer with a few of these. As far as crypto being safe, to a lot of people, crypto is very risky. Very risky. So if they're going to get into crypto, they want to stick with the safer ones. The people who've been in crypto are, often called degenerate gamblers. They're not traditional investors. So they're willing to put a little more risk on the line with DeFi plays, or, altcoins with a $50 million market cap. You can have very large gains for sure. Doesn't take much to move those coins, but these coins come and go. So, you can have more faith in these top 10 ones that have been here for a while. All right. So let's finish up with that chart there. Looking at that symmetrical triangle, we have this level that was a previous top there. So we were looking to hit that target around $80. We overshot it. Now we're kind of consolidating at it. You have a low, a higher low, a high, a higher high. So we're putting in an uptrend here. We're at, fighting with this level here. I think, if Bitcoin moves higher, of course, Litecoin will as well. And your next top, resistance is going to be 140. And then you could say 180 right here, 240, and then your all-time high at 370. And you can see the gains from current price to 80. It's going to be a 70% increase from here to that peak. This peak here is 128%, 180%, and all-time high around 350%. So there's a lot of potential. And, Litecoin seems to, they try to evolve. They had that Mimble Wimble talk. I'm not sure, privacy coins have been attacked. We saw France was attacking privacy coins. We've seen regulations. There's uncertainty with like Zcash and Monero in the United States. So I don't know, how if Mimble Wimble will be a good thing or a bad thing for Litecoin. But I like to see that they're still developing. Okay. For the unsophisticated investor, $82 seems a lot cheaper than $20,000, even though the price has nothing to do with, anything really. The market cap is what the market cap and the supply is what determines the price. But the unsophisticated investor could be like, well, I'd rather, own one Litecoin instead of owning 0.0001 Bitcoin. Who knows? All right, let's look at some indicators real quick, and then I'll wrap it up. Above all moving averages on the weekly. Good to see. Stochastic hasn't crossed down either, putting in an uptrend on the RSI. Daily bounce off that blue 50 simple above all moving averages. Looks good. Stoch about to cross up, breaking that downtrend, very similar to Bitcoin. Pretty much looks like Bitcoin, on the most recent time frame here. But instead of an ascending triangle, looks like a symmetrical triangle. 4-hour is coming down. And slight bearish divergence, possibly right here. A slightly higher high, slightly lower high on the RSI. We'll have to see what happens. But I think Bitcoin will determine what happens with the altcoins here. So if Bitcoin breaks up, the altcoins are going to follow. If Bitcoin rejects, the altcoins, they will dump. They will dump. And we can even look at the Bitcoin dominance real quick. I'm looking at this trend line of support on Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance seems to still be rising. So this would, if it continues to rise, two things happen. Either Bitcoin pumps above 20K and people have their eyes on Bitcoin. They might even be selling altcoins to move into the Bitcoin rally, and then after Bitcoin stalls out, they might take their profits and move them into the altcoins, and then you'll see the dominance fall. Or a worst case scenario is we get rejected here, the whole market dumps, and the altcoins sell off a lot harder, and then the dominance rises. But if we lose this trend line of support, the dominance falls. Typically when the dominance falls is when altcoins outperform, because you're not going to see Bitcoin fall 10% and altcoins only fall 2%. That's rare. Most often what happens is the altcoins start rallying 10, 20% when Bitcoin only moves 2%. So we'll have to watch that trend line to see when the next little alt season is. All right, 33 minutes. Sounds good. Don't forget there is that CME gap below if you like to play that style. There is a pretty significant gap there, but if we're going to break out, I don't care. It's not a big deal to me. It's there. It is there. So if you like to play gaps, you can keep that in mind. But we're in an uptrend. I think the gaps were played more often when we were just chopping around. I mean, this was a pretty significant gap fill right here. It is true, but sometimes they take a long time. I think if we break above 20K, ideally what we would like to see is that we break above 20K, we flip it as support. So it's a resistance. Break above it, maybe we go to 21K, and then we retest it as support. I would like to stay above 20K, never come below ever again. So maybe that gap never gets filled. I know there's a gap down, it's a smaller gap. There's a gap here that never got filled, okay? But this gap never got filled because the price was breaking out. It's, you know, it's a breakaway gap or a runaway gap. Sorry, I get them confused sometimes. But basically, the price, there's too much momentum for it to come back here. Often when they fill the gaps, it's more just ranging, choppy action. So it is, if we get rejected here, then this gap probably will get filled, that's for sure. But if we break 20K, it just may never ever happen. It looks like there could be even a little bit of a gap down here even too, okay? So anyways, thanks for watching. This could be an exciting week for Bitcoin. And we're staying patient. 9 minutes left on this 4-hour candle. Current price is 19,525. All right, guys, I'll go ahead and wrap it up so I can upload this and let you guys watch it. Thanks for watching. Rolly roll.